Miss Gita, Mr. Rajaratnam. Sorry, I'm not used to the family names here. Mr. Jawahar, of course, and colleagues from Track Steps. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Kalai Vanakkam. Yes, I did it. I have 3 more days to learn a little bit more about Tamil. It's a very, very great pleasure for me to be with you today. It's my first time in Chennai, and of course, this is a very auspicious occasion because we are launching a very important network of CSOs engaged in climate change action and climate ventures. The project Genie CSOs, as we refer to it in short, I mean, you have heard about it from Ms. Bindu earlier on. This is something that we initiated with Trek Step at the end of 2019. And I want to spend a little bit of time to explain to you why this is an important project for us, because it brings at the forefront 2 important focus areas for the European Union here in India. On one hand, climate action, and on the other hand, women economic empowerment. So let me start by saying a few words first on climate change. Of course, undeniably, the existential challenges posed by global warming is undeniable, is undiminished, and extreme weather events continue all around the world to remind us of the dramatic consequences of inaction. Failure to address greenhouse gas emission will make it near impossible to live up to the expectation of the Paris Agreement. And in parallel, we must also work towards a changing climate to which we all need to adapt to. And it is correct to say that India has a low emission per capita level, approximately half of the world average, but naturally, India is also a growing economy, a growing population, fast-paced urbanization and industrialization, and therefore there is a need to address the significant energy demand that is accompanying such growth in the coming years. EU and India share similar goals and vision when it comes to reducing greenhouse gas emission. Both blocs have embarked on ambitious targets when it comes to reducing energy intensity of our economy, promoting renewable energy. So all this to say that when it comes to climate mitigation, greenhouse gas emission mitigation, I mean, we are very aligned in terms of ambition and vision and goals. And at the same time, of course, India is also a vulnerable country when it comes to climate impact, with a vast population dependent on the growth of its rural economy. You have extensive coastal areas. The Himalayan region are also particularly sensitive to the changing climate. So the exposure to rising temperature, floods, droughts, all this is causing concerns to people here in India. And naturally, government at all levels are required to look into this climate adaptation angle. I wanted to mention that our President of the European Union, Ms. van der Leyen, visited India in May 2022, so it was a fairly recent visit. And she underscored the necessity to work together on climate action. And this is really an area which is at the forefront of our collaboration here in India. And we do so by collaborating with a vast, broad range of stakeholders. We have a lot of our programs that are targeting climate change mitigation with government, municipalities, urban local bodies, think tank, policy makers. But one very interesting dimension in the project that gathers us today is the fact that we are also able to work with civil society organizations, and as it was highlighted in previous address, you play a critical role when it comes to working closer to the ground, reaching the last miles. I think if I understand well what was translated to me, I mean, there is a need to reach out to that grassroots level to allow everybody to benefit from support and to do their bits also when it comes to climate change mitigation and adaptation. So this is why, Jenny CSOs helps with, because it brings CSOs in the pictures, and very importantly, it also brings a gender lens to the problem. And this, I come to my second point, why we also feel that Jenny CSO is an important project, because precisely this gender lens is not always systematic in our program, and we need to reinforce the message that women are an important part in the equation when addressing climate change mitigation and adaptation. And in fact, these are two mutually reinforcing areas, because you don't achieve progress in green transition and in sustainable development if you don't involve the women. And you don't achieve progress on women empowerment if you don't address the issues related to climate change and green growth, if I may say. So for us, the pursuit of gender equality and environmental goals are mutually reinforcing, as I said, and having women in the lead for sustainable changes is very important to us. In fact, women and girls represent half of the world population, and therefore investing in women economic empowerment makes not only an economic sense, but it also makes social sense. And I just wanted to mention that since the end of 2020, so shortly after this project was initiated, we adopted a gender action plan, which is sort of encapsulating the European Union strategy when it comes to pursuing gender equality and women empowerment. And this is going to, this action plan covers the period up to 2025, and it's going to guide our gender action, not only in Europe, because of course we take a lot of commitment in Europe towards gender equality and women empowerment, but also towards our action in partner country. And there's one commitment that is, that is key and critical to us, is that by 2025, 85% of all our action, all our funded program should have gender equality and women empowerment as a significant objective or principal objective. So there's a very, very strong push from our headquarters that no matter what we do, no matter which areas we are working on, we have to bring a gender lens to it. And to do so, we will continue to partner with international organizations, with think tanks, and with civil society actors, so that we are able to bring this gender action down to the ground level. In this gender action plan, there is a very strong, and this is something new compared to the past, but there is a strong emphasis also put on the green transition, actually not only green transition, but also the digital transition, and that sort of echo the previous point made around innovation, and digitalization is part of the innovation equation. So this gender action plan is putting a lot of emphasis on supporting women and girls and men equally to participate in the green and digital transition. And of course, we see opportunities to increase participation of women and girls in decision-making process on environment and climate change. We see an opportunity to have gender-responsive strategies and agreements when it comes to climate mitigation, climate adaptation, disaster risk reduction, and environmental conservation, such as biodiversity, environmental quality, and so on. We want to see more women and girls and men equally participating in the protection of environment and addressing climate change in their daily life. And of course, we want to bring equal opportunities when it comes to jobs and access to resources, and entrepreneurship is, of course, one example also of such support. Genie CSO is one of many projects that are being funded by the European Union here in India. In fact, when we launched this call proposal back in 2018 already, that was really the focus of this funding support, how to bring local civil society actors at the forefront of women and girls' empowerment when it comes to climate and digital transition. We feel that the green transition and the sustainable development goals offer tremendous opportunities for women empowerment. And we know that these women and these girls are likely to miss that opportunity if the skills, the capital, and the network for these women and girls are not built today. And this is precisely what the project that gathers us today is all about. It's about building a collaborative approach, so you bridge the knowledge gap, you work on the skill, but you also accompany further these women and these groups so that they are in a position to actually realize their goals and their aspiration. As I said, it's a mix between having the skills, but also having the capacity and the networks to bring this knowledge and this skill further up. And in doing so, I sincerely hope that the project with all of you present today and actively participating in the implementation of the activity on the ground will also be able to address the root cause of low women participation in the labor force, for example. We very much know that the government has enacted various laws and regulation to spur and foster women economic empowerment, but we also need to look at the gender bias, the stereotypes, women's safety in public space, at home. These are all factors that behind the scene also contributes to women being maybe less willing or in a position to participate in this important action and deliberation. So we all have to do our bit to address these gender stereotypes and build the confidence of women and girls so that they can be a beacon of participation in this fight. So with these words, I would like to thank TrekStep for organizing such a beautiful event, such a nice gathering. I would like to thank all of you for having traveled sometimes from far away to be with us today. As I said, this is my first time in Tamil Nadu. It's my first time visiting Genie CSO and meeting with the TrekStep team. I'm going to be here for 3 days. I know Mr. Jawahar said it's not long enough, but this is what I have for now. And I'm looking forward exchanging with you further during the day. I'm looking forward learning. And I sincerely hope that you will also gain a lot from the discussion that the team has planned for you today. We are engaged in a long-term sort of partnership. These are not projects that are implemented in 1 year or 2 years. We have Still more years to come, still a lot of work to do, and we sincerely count on all of you to, make this initiative a success for the women and the communities in India, in Tamil Nadu, and in the other states that are engaged in this initiative. So without further ado, shall I say the word? I declare the network established or launched, or how do you want me to do? Thank you very much. Thank you.